Hello, this is Robert Villegas, and this is what I think. Well, hello there. This message is for Che Chong Nan, otherwise known as Bobbie. That's the name I called you. This is Robert Villegas. And we knew each other in 1967. I hope you remember me. I certainly have not forgotten you. I've written a book. It's a fictional book, which means that the story in it is not true to life, but it's based upon you and me, the people, you and me. And as you see in the picture here, that's a picture that you took of me back in 1967. So now you're a famous photographer. I wanted to try to contact you to let you know about the book, and I'd like to send you a copy of it. It's based on our story, as I said, but it's not our real story. It's a fiction. And so just to let you know a little bit about me, I'm back in Indiana. I've lived here for most of my life since I left Korea. I have lived and worked in Europe and other places in the United States, from San Francisco to New York City to Miami to Texas to Minnesota. I've pretty much been everywhere. I'm going to show you some pictures that I've taken from different places, just so you kind of get caught up. I live in a quiet little town in Indiana, just outside of Indianapolis, which is where I was raised, as you probably remember. I hope you remember me. If you have any questions, I'd like for you to contact me. Or please contact me anyway. That's why I'm making this video. My email will show up. As you'll see, it's called crazyhoneyboy@aol.com, which is a name that you gave me in a letter that you wrote to me at one point. You probably don't remember that, but I do. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about what has gone on, but the most important thing is that I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to find out what's going on with your life. Hopefully it's been good, and hopefully you don't mind getting back in touch with me. I would love to hear from you. I still think about you a lot, and I'd like to see if we can start talking again. Well, a lot has happened over the last few years. I moved back to Indiana, of course, when I left the military. This is me when where I lived after I came back. It's a house. I also had a nice little sports car when I was a young guy, and that's me with the long hair sitting on my car. Now I live in Greenwood, and this is a little bird I caught on my patio, and I've got a little garden here that has some flowers, and I work on it, and it's kind of a little more relaxing life than I used to have, and I get a few visitors every now and then, my kids, my grandkids, my daughters, and my son. Also get this little hummingbird who comes by every now and then and says hello. And also traveled quite a bit. This picture was taken in Arizona. Nice sunset there while I was traveling through. This is Canyon de Chelly, which is one of my favorite places in all the world, also in Arizona. And when I was in Europe, I brought my kids to spend some time with me there. This is us in the airport in Germany. That's me with my daughter when she was young. She's my second child, and that's her now. She got married a couple of years back, and that's her on her wedding day. She's a very nice young lady. That's me, my dad, and my son. He's now 34. My dad passed away in September. This is the Queen and the royal family. I took that picture in London when I was in England. That's also Warwick Castle there in England. And also visited Heidelberg Castle, which is here. That's in Germany. Very beautiful place. I really enjoyed it. And then, of course, in Arizona, I visited this castle, which is called Montezuma's Castle. And this is in Las Vegas. That's my cousin, Johnny Garcia, Tricia Yearwood, and myself. And that's in Belgium when I was in Europe. And the next picture is in West Berlin, picture that I took when I was in Germany. And also had a chance to visit Big Ben in London. And that's a picture of Big Ben. And again, I took all of these pictures, so there are places where I've been. That's me there in London, right across from Buckingham Palace, where I saw the Queen. And then this is Nefertiti. She's an ancient Egyptian lady, and I met her in Berlin. And then, of course, this is Stonehenge. Went there when I was in England. It's a very lovely place with some ancient megaliths. This is where Shakespeare was born, the famous playwright. I also had a chance to visit other places. This is Trinidad. Very beautiful weather there. That's an island off of the coast of Venezuela in South America. That's also in Trinidad when I visited there. Also had a chance to go to Washington, D.C. quite a bit. There's the Capitol building with some protesters that I was there with. Also visited President Obama in the White House. Didn't get to see him. He wasn't really interested in us at that particular time. The next one is actually George Washington, believe it or not. He's in that little casket. Next to him is Martha Washington. And also this is the home of Thomas Jefferson, another U.S. president. And had a chance to visit his house, as well as a place that he used to own. It's called a Natural Bridge. It's a very beautiful place, and there's people walking above. That's my son. We went to Chicago there, had a nice time racing go-karts. And when I went to Washington, D.C., that's a picture of me. That was in 2009, so it's been a few years ago, 7 years. That's me in Daytona with a friend of mine, Larry Foyt, who's a famous race car driver. Back in D.C., visited Abraham Lincoln, got to see his statue, and also visited the grave of John F. Kennedy as well. There you see that. And had a chance to also visit George Washington's home, and that's a picture of that. And while I was there, I met this lady, very nice lady. She's still a friend of mine. We sat there for a half an hour and talked, and we didn't know that we had the same sign. So that's a picture of us there. This is a picture of Florida when I used to live there. Palm trees, very beautiful place, like to go back. And that's where I lived when I was in Florida. Nice little apartment on a lake. It was pretty neat. When I was in D.C., I visited the Korean War Memorial, and the gentleman, the biggest one there, looks like Tanazi. That was our next-door neighbor in Korea. This is my sister. She died about 4 years ago of cancer. This is my youngest grandchild. Her name is Mari, and she's a beautiful little princess. And, of course, there's my son. If you could see this picture, you'd also see that he has brilliant blue eyes, not brown like me. That's him in the car that we drove. He got that up to 175 miles an hour at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then, of course, this is a lovely lady. As you recall, I told you to think about me, and this is what I captured. That's us together. Still miss you, miss seeing you, miss being with you, and I hope I can hear from you. These are my books. I have written that many books. Well, I hope you've enjoyed my video. Thanks for watching. Hope to hear from you soon. Thanks a lot.